Hi there! In my last video you saw me bring down a tree which had a dangerous lean towards my shed. Since then I brought down another tree close to the shed, and before I cut it up for firewood I thought to myself, what can I do with this wood that might be a little bit more useful to me? So that's why I purchased my first chainsaw mill. Now, I've never used a chainsaw mill before. This whole experience is new to me, and I've had to fabricate my own steel frame to run the chainsaw sled along. So I don't know exactly how this is going to go. I'm sure we'll make some mistakes, learn some things, hopefully create some nice timber slabs at the end of the day. Let's see how it goes. Okay, a couple of days have passed now, and I've removed the branches from the tree and cut it into 3-metre sections which I'm going to attempt to mill into timber slabs and planks. The frame I've welded up here has 4 cross braces which are either chocked or shimmed to the right height and then screwed to the log for rigidity. An important part of this step is making sure that you don't have any twist, warp or bend in the steel rails, as those errors will be replicated in each slab as you cut your way down through the log. Also worth noting is the clearance height between the top running surface of the rails and the end of your fasteners so that you don't cut into them with the chainsaw. With my setup here, I need a clearance of about 90mm, but I'll set the saw up to 100mm just to be safe. For this operation, we're using a Stihl MS660 chainsaw with a 60cm bar. I've got the clamps on the sled set as far apart as they can be with this setup, which results in a 470mm cutting width. Do not move the outer clamp any closer to the sprocket at the end of the bar, or the clamping force may prevent that sprocket from turning freely. Also make sure that the nearer clamp is not making contact with the motor unit, or it may cause a bending force on the bar. Make sure that the clamp with the guide rails is at the motor end of the bar. Make sure that this shield around the end of the bar is fitted correctly. Mine didn't fit out of the box and I had to cut some material away with the angle grinder to make it fit. I'm not reading out of the instruction manual right now. These are all mistakes that I've made. Probably because I didn't read the instruction manual. Now let's set up the sled for the clearance we need for our first cut. There are depth indicators on the sled, but I don't trust them, so I'm using a square edge to make sure that I get the correct depth and that the bar is parallel with the sled. You see 95mm indicated on my square edge here, but the square edge has a 5mm thick base, so that brings us to the 100mm clearance that we wanted. Then I'm going to sharpen this one tooth in particular, and we're ready to start cutting. I'm just grabbing some plastic wedges to put into the gap behind the chainsaw here to prevent the timber from closing up and pinching on the bar. It also helps maintain a straighter cut. As I only have 2 wedges handy, I'm going to grab them and move them back up behind the saw again to make sure that as we finish the cut opens rather than closing on the blade. I did later realise that this caused a small curve to be cut into all of my slabs, so in the future I need to have more wedges and keep that gap maintained the whole way along the cut. With the top cut now finished and the rails removed, we can now use the top surface of the timber to guide the chainsaw sled. I've adjusted the depth of cut to 45mm. And that's the first slab done. What do you think? I'm pretty happy with it. If you find the process anywhere near as enjoyable as I do, pretty soon your place starts to look like this. Or like this. Or like this. Where were we? Yes, turning the slabs into useful timber beams. As you can see, I've been using chalk lines to mark down the centre of the slabs and a circular saw to cut them in half. But these slabs have a lot of internal stress, relatable, which causes them to bend in a banana shape when I cut them open. So if I want usable beams right away, I'll have to cut them oversize and then cut them progressively down to their final dimension. So here I'm recutting the inside edge of one of those pieces you just saw to make it straight. I'll then flip it over and cut the opposite edge and hope it doesn't bend too much. There is actually so much stress in this timber that it's clamping and stopping the circular saw blade, and I have to keep wedging the gap open behind the saw to continue cutting. But the result? A fairly straight timber beam that should be quite strong. I just don't know how much it will deform as it dries, but for now I'm going to build with it and see what happens. I think that's all from me for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.